Well, it's been a hot minute since I last talked about Tower of God. Well, the sole reason for that is I just haven't had a lot of time to read it recently. So, what better way to jump right into it than to tell you if you haven't already started reading it, and this isn't my first video on the topic of Tower of God that you've seen, you should go read Tower of God. And with that out of the way, what am I going to talk about today? Well, it's not the current arc I'm reading, because, well, I haven't finished it, and if you want context, that will be the Data Floor arc. But today we're going to go back and talk about an arc I kind of skipped over almost entirely, in fact, pretty much entirely, and that is the Name Hunt Station, an arc I actually very much enjoyed, given that I didn't actually talk about it after reading it. Mainly because that was in a stint where I was reading a ton of it, I read the Name Hunt Station and immediately carried on with the Hellfloor? No. Yes, yeah, Hellfloor, which I then made a video on, or Floor of Death. I made a video on Floor of Death, and so I never ended up talking about the Name Hunt Station. But yeah, with enough bullshit rambling out of the way, the Name Hunt Station, what is it? Well, honestly, I think it is one of the better arcs of the Hell Train so far, at least in terms of my personal enjoyment. A lot happens that's really cool. First, you get this really good fight with Ran. Ran shows off that he is absolutely OD, like even more so than he already had shown. And we get introduced to the Name Hunt Station, where the whole arc will take place. It's not a very long arc, comparatively, compared to some of the other Hell Train arcs, but it's still decently long, and it's actually well, I've said this multiple times already, but I very much enjoyed it. So, the Name Hunt Station, what is it? Well, it's a station for the Hell Train, obviously, where, in effect, a pseudo-slavery system is in place, where if someone defeats you, or puts their hand on your back for an amount of time, I believe it was to the count of 10, they can steal your name, and you become a Nameless. People that are Nameless have to live in special areas where only Nameless are. Well, not only Nameless, but where Nameless have to be. Nameless can't leave this area. However, Nameless can be given names by the named people who have names, and as such, they are then forced to basically be the slave to the names that gave them a name. And then they themselves can give names to Nameless, making them their slaves, and basically it's a pyramid scheme with slavery and names. And that's the crux of how the Name Hunt Station works. And when you're introduced to it, we're introduced to this character, Kaiser, a mysterious character who has never had their name stolen in the thousands of years they've been here. They have ruled over this place for an extremely long time. And in a very, surprising twist, you almost immediately find out that Indorsi has had her name stolen by Kaiser, which immediately puts into perspective of how strong Kaiser is. She's stronger than Indorsi, at least on the surface. Indorsi isn't exactly happy about admitting she's stronger, that Kaiser's stronger than her, so comes up with excuses. Whether or not Indorsi is stronger than Kaiser, we've not really, well, I haven't seen. I could maybe think about it and make a video on it if you guys really want to see that. Leave a comment if you do. But Kaiser beats Indorsi, and it sets her up as being it sets them up. Obviously, you don't know who Kaiser is yet, but if you've read the arc, you know why I keep having a little Freudian calling Kaiser a her. But Kaiser is set up to be incredibly strong, stronger than the Princess of Jihad even, which is impressive, because she has these special abilities that catch Indorsi off guard. But from here, we then basically, the Name Hunt Station progresses with basically, Balm wants to take Kaiser's name because he has to, because Yuri has tasked him with taking Kaiser's name as a prerequisite to go to the Floor of Death, and Indorsi wants to beat Kaiser to get her title of Jihad back, because she's now just Indorsi, not Indorsi Jihad, which then puts those two at odds because they both need to defeat Kaiser and get Kaiser's name, but they both can't have Kaiser's name, which then leads to a little bit of conflict between Indorsi and Balm, and also a very interesting scene in Indorsi's room, but if you've read it, you know what I'm talking about. And all this arc is very good for creating conflict between the two groups that we've been dealing with. We've got Balm, the main group, who are with Kun, and they've been progressing at the tower, and Shibisu's group, that he is the leader of. And this arc really shows that Shibisu is a lot smarter than, we've previously been led to believe, because he does effectively beat Kun. He outsmarts Kun here, and only because they're good friends does he let Kun take the dub. But Shibisu does outplay Kun right before the end of the arc, in what leads to Balm fighting Kaiser. And then there's Kaiser as a character. Kaiser is really interesting as a villain because they're a tragic one. They've been forced to be at the Name Hunt Station, under the guise of working off their family's debt, to which we later find out the family are using the money Kaiser gets for them to not pay off their debt, but to effectively build more and live frivolous lives, not caring about that debt because, well, none of their money's going toward it. All the money they get is not off their own sweat, so why would they care? And you find out about this, and it does paint Kaiser as a tragic villain. While you can't necessarily like them because we've already known that they have, fucked over a character we have come to like throughout the story, if you do or don't like Dorsey, obviously I do, but you can't at least hate Kaiser for what they're doing. They have a goal, but they themselves are being betrayed to fulfill that goal. And then when you learn Kaiser's backstory, and how she doesn't remember her name, and was also a candidate to be a Princess of Jihad, and was tested. She fell in love with a boy who also, quote-unquote, fell in love with her, and she chose this romance over becoming a princess. However, it is revealed, as I just said, to be a test. It was all a lie, it was all a ruse to see if she was strong enough willed to be a true Princess of Jihad, to which, due to her choices, she failed. She failed becoming a princess, and ended up ruining her family's reputation, which is why her family take advantage of her in the way they do. And during the fight with Balm, we see Kaiser has some really cool abilities, She has a wolf, Fenrir, that she can switch places with. Any wounds Fenrir induces don't heal, they bleed permanently until she really removes a curse. She has invisible threads with weapons attached to them that are also invisible. She is just really, really cool as a character. And the fight culminates and ends with Balm inevitably defeating Kaiser, stealing the name Kaiser, and telling her her name, her real name, which is Elaine. Lopobia Elaine. She's from one of the 10 Great Families. And that's basically where this arc ends. We do have one small scene at the end where Elaine is sold at an auction, and fuck, it irritates me that I can't remember his name. Balm's teacher from Fug buys her to, accrue favor with Balm, because Balm asks him to set her free, basically. And obviously, I do know that later in the manhwa, Elaine will show up again as an ally. I haven't gotten to that point yet, but I am very much looking forward to it, because A, she's gorgeous, and B, she's got a really cool set of abilities, and she's a Giga Chad, and that's really all there is to it. The Name Hunt Station as a whole, ignoring its primary villain, was actually really good. I did very much enjoy it, and it obviously leads into the Floor of Death, which I have talked about, and I like it a little bit more than most. I don't think it's the best arc of the Hell Train, epic. I guess that's probably the best way to call it, because the Hell Train may as well be its own season of the show. It's Season 1, Season 2, Hell Train, Season 2, Part 2, and then it'll go into Season 3. Albeit Hell Train probably ends Season 2, so who knows. I don't know yet, actually, because I'm not done with it. But, yeah. I do like the Name Hunt Station. I do think the Name Hunt Station is better than the Hell Floor. It's just I decided to talk about the Hell Floor first because I knew that there was slightly less positive an opinion of the Floor of Death. I keep calling it the Hell Floor. I don't know why I'm doing that. I just am. There's a slightly more positive opinion of the Name Hunt Station compared to the Floor of Death. So I decided to talk about the Floor of Death first because it was a quote-unquote controversial opinion. And as a YouTuber, views matter. Good Christ. I'm cringe. Why would I say that out loud? You knew I was thinking it. Anyway, I do plan to talk about more Tower of God content in the future, and I hopefully won't leave as big of a gap between videos as I did with this one and the previous one, as I'm planning to, at some point very soon, continue reading the Data Floor. I don't know how far into it I am. I don't think I'm very far into it at all, but then again, I don't know, because I have been reading it for a decent little bit. It has been quite long so far, so I might be about halfway through it. But hey, you have to wait and see. But my next video will definitely of Tower of God will definitely be on the Data Floor. So if you like this video and want to see more Tower of God content and other anime-based content in general, leave a like, comment, sub, hit the notification bell. You know the usual YouTube deal. And with that said, I'm Animosity, you being you, and I'm just going to go next time for the video. Ta-ta, for now. Good Christ, I fumbled that outro. Whatever.